We see this little girl. She's in the classroom, first one in the classroom, trying to be helpful, getting the paints ready. And you see her spill the paint. And she, just goes and she starts cleaning it up. And then in comes the teacher.
So clumsy.
The teacher's just in reaction mode. When she sees the spilled paint, she's clearly upset. The girl in that moment, you can tell she feels bad, she's scared. This is a great example of someone who has an experience as a child. The adult comes in, they're upset. In that moment, that child is having all of these perceptions about themselves. The silent K. I remember reading a sentence in front of the whole class and saying, I cano, and everyone laughed at me. And in that moment, I felt so embarrassed and I felt so dumb and I felt like afraid to speak up. And well, I didn't realize it at the time, but that's how it played out for me. Like I became a pretty shy kid, pretty quiet, afraid to speak up. Traditional therapy, my goal was to be a therapist. That's why I studied psychology in college. I was going to go and be a traditional therapist. I was really fortunate, though, that in one of my classes, they required us to go to therapy for a semester. We had to go every week to the college counselor and talk about our stuff. And what girl in her early 20s doesn't have a few self-esteem issues? And my parents were in the middle of a divorce, and so I had a lot of anger and confusion and frustration, even as an adult. My experience was frustrating, and I didn't know why until later. It was frustrating because traditional therapy was only concentrating on the conscious brain, and your conscious brain will only take you so far, but it's your subconscious that dictates like 95% of what's going on in your life. I wanted to start my business because I wanted to help other people who were frustrated just like I was. And I could see it all around me. People were putting on happy faces, but underneath, not happy, not peaceful, not feeling fulfilled with themselves, their marriages, their relationships with their kids, with their work. A lot of just unhappiness, that underlying unhappiness. When the teacher came in, the little girl didn't know that she had had a bad morning. That little girl that spilled the paint, right there, she's feeling like she's not good enough, she's clumsy. If you notice, there was already spilled paint on the floor. Lots of kids had spilled paint on that floor before. My guess is the teacher had probably spilled paint on that floor. And that's life, right? We're just experiencing life the best way we can. It all goes back to people feeling like they're not enough. That's always what it goes back to. I can tell you every single issue that anybody has all goes back to some point in their childhood where they didn't feel like they were good enough. And so that's what I help people uncover and rediscover about themselves, that they were born good enough. They were born good enough.